So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are connecting from. To introduce myself, I'm Shashidhar, and I'm part of Citrix Ready team, leading the mobility ecosystem. Thank you for attending the webinar today, and I would like to welcome you all to the Citrix Ready technical webinar series, where we showcase how Citrix and our partners have integrated to deliver valuable products and solutions to common problems faced by our customers today. So today we will learn about productivity, compliance, and security of Citrix XenMobile environment using EG Innovations products. We have Babu Vaidyanathan, CTO, EG Innovations, with us to talk more about this in a while. Citrix Ready is a program, it's an end-to-end technology partner program that showcases and recommends third-party products, solutions, and service compatibility with Citrix products. Customers can quickly and easily find solutions recommended by Citrix in the Citrix Ready marketplace by navigating to citrixready.com. For more information on the Citrix Ready program, you can always navigate to citrix.com/partnerprogram/CitrixReady. Before we start the presentation, I would like to know if you have any questions during the webinar, please use the question panel on the right-hand side of your GoToWebinar window, and we will take your questions in the question and answer session by the end of this webinar. So without any further delay, please welcome Babu Vaidyanathan to begin today's presentation. Hi Babu, over to you.
Hey, thank you Sashi, and thanks everyone for joining us today. Today we will do a quick introduction to EG Innovations and how our solutions can help you in your mobility initiative. We'll touch a little bit on the evolution of mobility and why everybody needs to be there, and some of the dependencies, risks, and the focus that needs to be there on user experience. And we will talk about how EG can help you in this space to provide better user experience, ensure policy compliance, and do preemptive management. With that, let me talk very quickly about EG Innovations. It's, once you start seeing the slide, we are dedicated to helping businesses across the globe transform IT services delivery into a competitive advantage and a center for productivity, growth, and profit. In a sense, we want your IT services to be your strength, deliver the best user experience possible. So we provide performance management and analytical services on top of your existing IT service for you to be able to do that. And these are some of our large customers, a small sampling of some of our large customers who use EG to deliver better value, better IT services to their consumers. Now, without much further ado, let's talk about mobility. That's what we are all here for. So the evolution of mobility, in simple terms, the way we see it progressing is, earlier it used to be when you took your laptop home and started connecting to your office, that was the extent of mobility. But today, most of the organizations are aware of being able to deliver mobile services, being able to provide access to users anywhere in the world to be able to access their applications, access their work environment, to be able to work without being confined to an office space in a building. So more or less what we are seeing today is current infrastructure adapting more and more to be able to be mobile. The future is going to be the other way around, whereas mobile and flexible work environments are going to be the norm, and desktops chained to a desk are going to become very special case scenarios. Most of the operations, most of the work in IT, we expect to turn into mobile or boundaryless, borderless, anywhere, ubiquitous office. Now with that said, In today's mobile world, more workers are using mobile services, cloud services, smartphones, tablets, and Citrix is essentially a recognized thought leader in the mobility space. Citrix can help you get into mobility space if you're not already there. If you're there, really expand there and provide a true comprehensive solution to our users. It allows for the ability to provide mobile applications, data security, mobile device management, mobile application management, mobile information management, and other mobile enabling technologies. So essentially, they will be your mobile services partners. And most of you on the call are already aware of this. And without question, they are going to play a major role in shaping how mobility goes forward in the IT industry. Where EG comes into play is essentially we know that most of us need to change our environment to support mobile, or if you're already there, enhance it so it provides better delivery to the end user. Ultimately, everybody is going to have a mobile workspace. The key to success here is how effectively are you delivering your mobile workspace to your end user. And for you to be essentially doing that well, you need proper performance management, end-to-end analytics, and correlation. And that's where EG comes in. It provides you visibility into this mobile platform that you're delivering to your end user so you can understand how you're delivering this, how your end users are consuming it, and what you need to do to deliver this better. So let's talk about some dependencies and end user experiences. Now, essentially, the most important factor in success of any mobile initiative is the end user experience. You provide better end user experience, you will see better adoption. You will see more applications being converted. To truly ensure success, you need to be able to monitor, manage, and optimize your end user experience. And I'm going to show you how EG is going to help you deliver better end user experience in your mobile infrastructures. Now, the biggest challenge, if you see, in being able to do that is there are a lot of applications to take into account. At the end of the day, mobile user is using a PC or a smartphone or a tablet to connect to these mobile apps. But there are a lot of different moving pieces, applications that need to be working together to deliver that service to the end user. So with that in mind, to truly manage this environment, when there are challenges here, performance issues here, when the user is potentially having a performance issue, it becomes difficult for you to sort through this huge set of applications to try and figure out what should I be doing to address this performance issue. So introducing EG Enterprise Universal Insight for mobile platforms. This is a philosophy we've had for quite a long time, and it's especially applicable when you look at mobile services, mobile infrastructures. So essentially, you've got a lot of different moving pieces. If you see a typical topology here, there are a lot of multiple different applications that need to work together cohesively to provide the service to the end user. And it's important for you to be able to monitor all of these pieces, understand performance management in there, and be able to put everything together in a cohesive unit, in a single service that is being delivered to the end user, so you can see the single service when you are managing this. You can see exactly where the problem is happening. And I'll show you a quick example of that in the product tour. So why does Universal Insight matters? As I said earlier, EG focuses on looking at all the pieces that are involved in delivering the service. That means it's not just looking at XenMobile Device Manager. It's not looking just at storefront. It looks at XenApp. It looks at your storage. If you've got any other profile management, it looks at it. NetScaler, your cloud enablement, everything needs to be looked at, and the services you're delivering on top. In some cases, your mail services, your SAP services, or any applications. All of these need to be looked at as a cohesive unit, as a cohesive service being delivered to the server, delivered to the user. That gives you better ability to manage the user experience. And let's see how with a quick live tour. So I'm going to connect. As Sashi mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and type them in the questions column. We'll get to that towards the end of the webinar. But here, I'm going to talk about a user slowdown. A user slowdown happening in a mobile environment and how EG can be used to troubleshoot that user slowdown. So I'm logging in as a user called Moby. As soon as I log in, I am actually given the right information about where the problem is, what is going on across the environment, who's being impacted, and what is the real problem. Now, for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to minimize this information, and we're going to walk through some screens in EG so you can kind of understand how we arrive at this and how EG works and how EG looks at a mobile environment. So let's focus on services here, Citrix BYOD and then mtxpay.com. So Citrix BYOD service is having a potential issue. So if you've got green, you've got no issues. Any other color, you have potential issues. The darker the shade of red, more severe your issue is. So this is a topology we saw in the presentation. So as you can see the different pieces that are involved in delivering the BYOD service, and you can clearly see all of them in one place. Now, you don't have to log into 3 different consoles to see what is going on, because when the user is complaining, typically the complaint is things are slow. I can't log in, or it takes too long to do simple things. With that information, then you are now forced to log into multiple different entities into your environment to try and figure out what is causing the problem. But here, you can look at all the pieces involved in delivering this BYOD service, and they are all connected and their dependencies mapped. And this can be done automatically by EG, discovered and mapped. So you can see you've got app controller. We'll get into details of what we can do with each and every one of these applications in a little while. For this demonstration, I'm going to talk about overall dependencies. So you can see that we are connecting all these different pieces, and we are also checking the health of all these different pieces. And we can see that some of them are not doing very well. The XenMobile MDM, XenApp, the ShareFile component, the app control component, all of them seem to have some minor alerts. But the storage zone seems to be having the main issue, a more severe alert. Notice the orange color there. So the HTTP access is slow and the disk is slow. Let's drill down into this and see what's going on. Oh, it's running on ESX. So I can get to the next layer, and it peels down and shows me that it's running on ESX. So file access is slow. That is running on an ESX. Storage zone is running on top of an ESX host, and the ESX host is having a critical problem. Let me drill into that, see what is going on. One of the VMs inside the ESX layer is causing a problem, and that VM is Oracle. So I drill into Oracle, and it shows me that Oracle is trashing the disk. It's taking up 99% disk activity. So disk is essentially going to be slow. I can even drill down and get to the process that is causing this problem. Essentially, what I've done very quickly is drilled down and gotten to the bottom of a problem that was completely in a different environment, different context from the BYOD environment. However, it was still impacting your BYOD environment and causing user experience issues. Now you can see the ease of use with which you can quickly drill down, understand everything that is going on within a single environment. So we can go back to that topology. So the key here is for me to be able to see the entire environment and the health of the entire environment, all the pieces involved in delivering the service. So right away, I know which area to focus to address this issue. And I can drill down and it will take you to the bottom of the problem. So it is very quick. So for me to be able to do this analysis means more often than not, I'm catching these problems before they start impacting the end user. If I had 5 different screens that I have to log in and there is no correlation, none of this intelligence presence, then usually I'm hearing about this problem after the user complains, and then I've got a bunch of engineers looking at this, logging into their own consoles, trying to figure out where the issue is. Now remember the alarm window that we minimized earlier? So let's go back to that. And you can see that clearly it has noted that it has done all this work already for us, so we don't need to do that clicking and drill downs. And it clearly notes to us that, hey, this is where your problem is. This is what you need to focus on. And that's impacting the rest of the issues that you see here. HTTP access is slow on the storage zone, pending packages deployment, user logon is slow. That's the potential issue there. So user logon is slow because HTTP access is slow on the storage zone because the disk is slow, and all these ripple effect problems. But the cause is here. So essentially what we have done in a nutshell is one problem that has created about 10 effects here. We've distilled through that, we've correlated, and we've given you a clear picture and actionable information for you to work on. And being able to do this proactively means you're preventing user experience problems from happening. And the only way to really do that in a BYOD environment or in really any complex environment is to be able to do performance management and analytics on the entire environment like I've just showed you. And that's what EG excels at. Now, let's take a peek into, since we're talking about BYOD specifically, let's take a peek into things like App Controller and XenMobile MDM to see the kind of metrics you can see here. So let's drill down and look at the analytics. So I can see the different types of devices, total devices. Let me expand this so you can see it a bit more clearer. Okay, should be easier on your eyes. So I can see total devices, locked devices. I can drill down and see the name of the devices that were locked. Now let's look into AppC users. So I can look into individual user sessions, as you can see here. So you can drill into a user session and see the receiver that they're using, the source IP, and the logon time. So you get visibility into what's really happening, what kind of devices they're using, what is their login pattern, when do they log in, how long do they stay, connected sessions, how many sessions are currently connected, and you can do a quick report on this. Do a longer time frame. How many new logins, and you can do a drill down into new logins, and it'll give you the users and the devices. So So you can drill down based on different receiver types. Okay, we can look at the application policies, camera blocking application. So policies is another thing that I'll talk about in a bit, but essentially when it comes to policy, the key question is, how do we track and enforce it? Right? You can set up all the policies that you want, but how do you identify resources? How do you identify users who are violating the policy, and how do you stop it? That's the key. In a successful policy, the policy needs to be designed in such a way that it's not very cumbersome for a lot of users, but at the same time, once you have the policy in place, how do you manage that policy? So EG provides you the ability to track devices that are breaking the policies, whichever policies you've set up. We'll go through that. So number of successful application launches, mobile calendar. So you can see which applications were launched. You can see which user launched that application. So a lot of useful information about the user behavior in your environment when they're connecting to your mobile services and using mobile applications. App controller service, whether the app controller is healthy, what's the license validity, logon status, how long does it take to log in, time taken to authenticate, time taken to connect. So I'm waiting for the screen to catch up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So you can see login information there. Let's look at users and devices one more time. There's something else. Users log on by devices. Let's see. Successful application launches, so you can see any given user, what type of application they are running. So you can see Keynote and Edisoft being launched by this user. Okay, so that's app controller. So let's go back to the topology. Let's look at XenMobile MDM. So you can identify different types of applications, different types of Android applications, devices with blacklisted applications, devices with non-suggested applications. So you have a device with blacklisted application. Now you can do a drill down and you know exactly which device that is with the serial number. And the blacklisted application being accessed. So with EG, you can trigger alerts based on these conditions. So that means you're being able to enforce your policy. You will get an alert when a blacklisted application comes on, something happens, then you can be aware of this immediately, or you can do an end-of-the-day report to see devices with, let's say, missing applications, applications that are supposed to be loaded but not loaded, etc. Here is an example of that. So devices by platform, Android. So there are 10 inactive devices, 1 jailbroken device. Again, that is a situation where compliance is not being met. It's a potential issue. So you can see the details on that particular device. So again, an alert can be raised when a jailbroken device connects into your environment. Out of compliant devices. So when an out of compliant device connects into your environment, you will be able to track the out of compliance devices and alert on those. So essentially, when your environment is being, whatever policies that you apply, see, that's the next thing I wanted to really talk about, which is it's important, right, to make sure the right kind of policies are applied in your environment, but more importantly, you need to make sure it's being complied with, understood, and being complied with. So that EG helps you with that. We are able to, so you can see in another example here, which we had in a real environment where we had passcode non-compliant devices connecting, and essentially the passcode was supposed to be in certain number of characters with certain number of different formats in there, and if that was missing, we were able to track and report on it with the owners, with users. So again, you saw the different other compliance issues that we looked at. So all the compliance will be tracked, and you will be able to enforce your policies with EG. And there are different types of reports that you can run for different types of compliances that you want. And when you perform device maintenance activities, did they actually happen? Did you get a report back? So full wipes, corporate wipes, logs, pending logs, when you do all of this, did it get completed? When it comes back, EG will give you the results. XenMobile MDM, so all your scheduled jobs and the status, everything that is being checked here. It's really a Java app server, so we are also monitoring the Java piece of it. So we're tracking the entire application. We're tracking all the different performance activities that are happening inside the Java application. If it's running out of memory or running out of resources, you will get alerts. So you can be proactive. You can make sure that your user experience is not compromised. So we looked at App Controller. We looked at XenMobile. Let's take a look at ShareFile. So ShareFile operations, upload status, time taken for upload, time taken for download. Remember, this was the ShareFile environment where we found the problem in the demo. So obviously, time taken for upload and time taken for download is very high. Time taken for delete is quick. So we are performing repetitive actions over a period of time to track how much time does it take to perform these basic tasks, and if they start going out of thresholds, going out of SLAs, then we can start alerting on them. The key here, if you notice, from an EG perspective, we were able to correlate that to an issue that was happening elsewhere, so we reduced the priority of this particular alert, which is time taken to upload, ShareFile operations. The priority got reduced to the low priority, whereas the focus was on the high priority item that was causing these issues. So even though EG can collect a lot of statistics, give you different insights and total visibility into across your platforms, it also has the ability to correlate when a problem happens and focus you on the right direction instead of giving you too many graphs to look at or too many alerts to be bothered with. So you can track ShareFile accounts, ShareFile users, how many users are coming in, what are they doing, storage usage, ShareFile devices can be tracked. ShareFile's files and folders can be tracked. So here we're looking at least active folders. You can look at most active folders so you get a sense of what's popular, what's not popular. So essentially, we're talking about total visibility into your environment. So whether the upload server is online, how long does it take to connect to it, the control pane connectivity, whether it's online, how long does it take to connect, how long does it take to authenticate. All of these are key elements that need to be tracked to make sure this particular piece, the ShareFile piece, is contributing properly to the ecosystem, is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And EG does all of this automatically, but you don't have to look at all these metrics because EG does the correlation by itself when there is a problem and presents you with the right information. But if you want to run reports, understand your usage, understand how your environment is being consumed, you can always do this. So NetScaler. So very quickly into NetScaler. So different application types, drop application flows, let's say app flow data, application firewall. So a lot of metrics on the NetScaler too. I can go on every metric and we could be here all day, but you get the picture. It's comprehensive. It looks at all the key elements that need to be looked at for mobile, but not just that, it understands how they're working together. So that means I can give you that overall topology that will enable you to keep the performance optimum. So that means you can identify and address issues before they start impacting users. That's how you can maintain the quality of user experience. You can maintain optimal user experience. That means it's going to increase your adoption. Once you increase your adoption, that makes your BYOD successful, and then you can start doing more of this. This helps management of your BYOD infrastructure, BYOD application, and BYOD service much more simpler because it gives you one dashboard to manage everything from. Okay, so we talked about end-to-end visibility. We looked at what EG can do to help you there. Let's see, I want to talk about proactive management and reporting. You can see some of the reporting here. Passcode non-compliant devices, unmanaged devices, jailbroken devices. So you can track adoption to see how successful you are, what type of applications are being used more, what type of applications are being used less, which applications have less number of problems and more users always connected, so you can enhance those applications and encourage more adoption on these applications, and also address applications that are not being adopted. Adoption across platforms, so application launches to give you an idea of which applications are popular, which applications are not. Another important piece that I want to talk about is, so we understand that we can look at problems end-to-end and proactively address them before users call you. And it also gives you total visibility across your entire infrastructure, enables you to deliver better compliancy and compliancy to your policies, and enables you to get alerts when these policies are broken. Last but not least, however, is how can we help your help desk? Because there are going to be situations where they're going to be getting calls and some things are not working because this is new and the user is not doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, or something or the other. But essentially what happens in most of these situations is this is the amount of information you would get when they call you. And typically that gets passed on to level 2 before we start looking at anything. However, with EG, we have something called as user experience dashboard. So let's take a quick look at that. So I can go into, say, for example, let's say a user called Kevin calls me. So it's same environment. It's a dashboard that I'm connected to. I'm searching for the user called Kevin. So let's say this is provided to my help desk. So my help desk has the ability to just go search for Kevin. And once we search for Kevin, you're going to see Kevin's session if they're already connected in your environment. and you'll be able to quickly drill down into what we call as a user experience dashboard for Kevin. So all I need from that user is the username. And now I can see the alerts that are relevant for this user. It's HTX screen refresh latency, its client network latency, his top CPU consuming processes. Right, I can see Java is consuming 30% CPU. Is his profile too large? What's the profile size? What is the top memory consuming process? What is the overall CPU consumption, memory consumption in the session, top I/O consuming processes, HTX channel bandwidth, line speed. So essentially, a complete insight into that particular user is provided to my help desk. All I need to do is just search for that username. So this makes it very easy for the help desk to look at and say, okay, maybe they're running Windows Media Player, or maybe they're running things that they're not supposed to be running that is causing this problem. They have complete insight into the user session, so they can start troubleshooting, work with the user, get to the bottom of the problem, and resolve it at level 1 without going to level 2. So if we make your help desk more, if we empower your help desk with this means they are going to be more productive. Your level 2 calls are going to reduce, and more importantly, your users are also going to have a good customer experience, because when they have a problem, they call somebody and they fixed it right away, as opposed to taking down their name and number and said, okay, let's take a look at it and we'll call you back. And that's what EG can deliver for you, in addition to doing the total visibility, doing the performance, end-to-end performance, also helps your help desk. So with a combination of this, essentially you're always staying on top of the performance. You're always staying on top of your user experience. We also give you another example of the dashboard, where you can essentially look at the entire environment. Here you're looking at the entire environment from a dashboard perspective. So we can create multiple different types of dashboards and customizable dashboards for your environment. Here I'm looking at total active sessions, 41, how many disconnected sessions I have in my environment. So this is across a summary of everything that's happening across my environment. The same thing when I looked at for its individual users, I'm getting a breakdown for entire environment. I can have this up in my NOC or for my service manager, so you can understand which application is most popular right now. Where am I having bottleneck in my environment? So if I see that my I/O has been constantly increasing, whenever a particular application usage starts picking up, then I know that's connected to my I/O. And this is across the entire environment. So I can plan for having more I/O capacity if I'm going to use more of that application. So understand your bottleneck and plan for it using AG. So you can always stay ahead of the performance curve. So those are some of the things that I wanted to highlight. I'm sure you've had some questions. Let me go and quickly wrap this up. So this is the enterprise dashboard. This is another example of the enterprise dashboard here. And so to summarize the discussion so far, essentially EG is going to help you deliver a better quality user experience for your BYOD environments. It's going to make your Citrix BYOD deployments more successful and enable you to convert your infrastructure into a more efficient and more user-friendly BYOD environment. And the way we do it is increasing productivity and end-user adoption by tracking what users access most, ensuring that those apps are accessible, performing ideally, and if there are potential problems, preemptively telling you so you can fix them before they start impacting users. So you take care of the user experience and users start adopting more. ensuring compliance. We saw some examples of that, tracking applications, devices, and ensuring compliance means also ensuring security. And last but not least, help your help desk, meaning make it easier for your help desk to troubleshoot problems, to fix problems with the end users, also passing on that advantage to the customer where they feel they're being serviced very, very well. And your level 2 and level 3 support folks are not impacted. So with that, I'd like to wrap this up and throw it to Q&A.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Babu, for the presentation. It was great. So we do have some questions posted here. So let's move on to the questions and answers session. And I would also request all to post any questions if you have any. So the first question would be, like, what version of XenMobile do you support?
What version of XenMobile do I support? Before I answer that, just for the record, it's Bala, not Babu. And,
sorry, Bala. Sorry.
That's all right. So what version of XenMobile do we support? We support 8 and above, so we have full support for 8 and the latest version 9 XenMobile.
Okay, great. Okay, so the next one is, can you monitor ShareFile if I have a local storage zone? Also, not the default cloud-hosted model.
Yes, we have the ability to monitor all the components that I showed you independent of each other. While we have the ability to monitor everything, there is no dependency that you have to have the ShareFile in the remote cloud. You have storage in the remote cloud for us to be able to monitor it. Whether it's in the remote or physical or any different combination that you might have, we will still be able to monitor and support it for you.
Okay, thanks. The other question would be, where are you pulling these user and user device information from?
Okay, good question. A lot of the information that you saw that we are collecting are primarily using Citrix APIs. So depending on the different type of application, we use different set of APIs available with Citrix, and Citrix has been great working with us. We've been a long-standing partner with them, and we work with them and collaborate with them on the APIs. So whenever a new set of APIs is released by Citrix, we get access to it ahead of time, so we can make sure that all the additional information that's there is collected and ready for our customers when they start using their the newer version of the software from Citrix. And in addition to the APIs, we do also have metrics that we collect directly, sometimes from the operating systems or from log files and from queries, different methodologies that we use in addition to APIs. So it's a combination of a lot of different things. Once we collect the metrics, we have our own analytics and heuristics that we apply on top of it to tell you where the real problem is.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, so the next question would be, can you also see the bottlenecks in a XenApp user session?
Yes, we can do. We can also see bottlenecks in a XenApp user session. What I showed you was focused on the mobility platform, but I can drill down into a XenApp user session, get to the level of detail where we can see where the problem is, what is going on, why a particular user is experiencing issues, look at their HDX metrics, look at their latency. So yeah, in-depth metrics are also available in XenApp. And if you want more details, we'll be happy to set up a call with you with whoever is asking that question to go through that in detail. But for today, we wanted to focus on XenMobile.
Okay, great. And to add to this, I would say, like, your product has been verified as Citrix Ready with XenApp as well. So these are really also listed on Citrix Ready Marketplace. So these products can be seen there as well. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Can I use your tool just for ShareFile, even if I don't have XenMobile?
Yes, you can. So as I showed you and as I mentioned earlier, essentially we are able to collect statistics from these different applications independent of each other, and we'll give you in-depth metrics on these independent of each other. So even if you don't have XenMobile and you're a proponent of user of ShareFile, we'll be able to give you all the ShareFile metrics that I showed you in the demo. And this is kind of an example that I'm breaking down for the previous user. A previous questioner. This is Citrix user information, insight, in-depth insight into that, and there's a drill down that gives you different applications a Citrix user can use. But coming back to this question, yes, any combination of the different platforms and devices you have will be able to monitor them independent of each other.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to the next one, let's say, can you monitor XenApp with your tool? I believe that you have answered. Specifically, do you support XenApp 7.6?
Correct. Yes, we do.
Okay.
The latest version of, we support the latest version of pretty much everything from Citrix. Okay. Citrix has been great with us by working with us on the pre-release copies and things of that nature, so that we can stay up to speed on everything that is happening there. So when the joint customers start using the newer version of anything that is coming out, they're already fully supported for monitoring from EG.
Likewise. Okay, so following the next question would be, what is the licensing model of your tool?
So there are a couple of ways in which we can license this. One would be based on server. So if you have high density, meaning you can get a lot of users on a single server, server-based licensing model would be attractive to you. And we also have another licensing model which is very similar to Citrix, a user-based licensing model that you can opt in if you want to keep the licensing straightforward like Citrix.
Okay. Okay, so is this software an appliance or a service?
This is a software. Essentially, there are some partners we have who provide this as a service. This is a software that you can run internally in your environment. I mean, it can also be delivered to you as an appliance if you so choose. It is also being delivered as a service. If you notice, I'm connecting to a website, I'm logging into a website and looking at all of this through a website, and the entire architecture is running on top of HTTPS. So that means we have a lot of partners who can provide this as a cloud-based SaaS service that you can consume. However, primarily we sell this as a software.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so the next one seems to be a good one. I'll say, I work for a system integrator. Do you have any special models for a company like us, for example, if you want to do an assessment for a customer?
We definitely do. We do work with certain system integrators that way. What I would recommend is please reach out to us separately with the contact information that you have here. Let me just bring that up. So please reach out to us through any of these means, and we will talk to you based on your needs. We'll set you up with whichever partner model that works for you.
Okay. And I would also like to tell, like, we would also post this presentation and the recording of this webinar online. So anyone would want to get these details, they can get the details even after the webinar as well. Okay, so we have a few more questions, Vala. So can this tool also monitor applications other than Citrix, XenMobile, and XenApp?
Yes, that's a very good question. So we're primarily talking about Citrix most of the times. So we support everything that, as I said earlier, that Citrix does. But as a product, we have a wider array of support wider net that we cast. So essentially, we support over 180 different types of platforms and applications. So if you've got a combination of Citrix or an SAP and then some SQL and then some web applications, we support that. If you've got Linux, if you've got Solaris, we've got Unix, you've got DB2, we support that. And let's say for some reason you're on this call and you don't even have Citrix, so we will still support your environment, whether it's virtualized or physical, running on physical servers, and you've got WebLogic, WebSphere, Java, any Java application. So we have a wide, comprehensive array of support for different applications and services. Please feel free to go to our website to get the full list of things that we support.
Thank you. Okay, so the next following one is, what about NetScaler? Do I need an agent on NetScaler?
No, we work with NetScaler through its API, so it's basically pulling the API and collecting statistics, so you don't need to be installing anything on NetScaler. And we have, as I think I touched on the demo a little bit, so we do have comprehensive metrics that we can collect out of NetScaler. And the nice thing about this is, essentially all of this is bundled into one single dashboard for you. So you don't have to have a tool to look at NetScaler. You don't have to have a tool to look at MDM. You don't have to have a tool to look at ShareFile. All of this is integrated and delivered to you as a single dashboard. And you can meaningfully look at it as a service that you're delivering and understand how healthy that service is.
Okay. So the next one would be, is there a free evaluation copy available?
Yes. You can see the link right on top there. If you can go to eginnovations.com and free trial, you can fill up a form, download our software, run it, and see how it works for you.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so there are a few more questions, but due to lack of time, we may have to wrap this up, and we will answer those questions and answers via email. So with that said, we are about to end the webinar, and I would thank you all for attending today's webinar in the Citrix Ready Technical Webinar Series, and this concludes our broadcast. Thank you.